But now, I'm the kind of person who thinks that you have to look at both sides of the story, right? It's not always man, period. What is the woman doing to cause this abuse? Obviously, never okay, but let's just look at what he has to say to defend himself. Now, I'm so sorry for the graphic picture, I'm just gonna show it really quick, but he says that she put poop on his toothbrush and spit on his face. Now again, never okay, but he sounds like a victim as well. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Should he be able to fight?
At that brand new video here, you can see him walking out of the side of TGK using his t-shirt to cover his head, surrounded by correctional officers and what is presumed to be his manager. Now, although we asked him questions about these allegations, he did not say anything to us as he walked out. He just went immediately into the SUV waiting for him on the side. Now, Davis was arrested this morning.
Stephen A. Smith has condemned Tank's recent behavior, calling it disturbing and part of a troubling pattern that sports fans and promoters should no longer ignore. The First Take host delivered a sharp, emotionally charged monologue in response to Gervonta Davis's latest arrest, a misdemeanor charge stemming from an alleged altercation with his ex-girlfriend in South Florida. Smith's voice, as always, echoed beyond sports circles, reigniting the conversation around athlete accountability and what it means when fame begins to insulate someone from real consequences. Horrible for him. But now I'm the kind of person who thinks that you have to look at both sides of the story, right? It's not always, period. What is the woman doing to cause this? Obviously never. Okay, but let's just look at what he has to say to defend himself. Now, I'm so sorry for the graphic picture. I'm just going to show it really quick. But he says that she put poop on his toothbrush and spit on his face. Now again, never okay, but he sounds like a victim as well. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Should he be able to fight? Davis, 30, was arrested early on a Friday morning shortly after midnight near the bustling Lincoln Road area of Miami Beach. The arrest didn't come as a surprise to local law enforcement. According to police spokesperson Christopher Bess, Davis had already been flagged in the system. His information had been entered into a law enforcement database, and when a license plate reader detected his vehicle, the Miami Beach police moved in. After the initial stop, Davis was handed over to Durrell Police, the department that had jurisdiction over the alleged incident. At that brand new video here, you can see him walking out of the side of TGK using his t-shirt to cover his head, surrounded by correctional officers and what is presumed to be his manager. Now, although we asked some questions about these allegations, he did not say anything to us as he walked out. He just went immediately into the SUV waiting for him on the side. Now, Davis was arrested this morning. At the center of this arrest is an altercation that reportedly took place in mid-June on Father's Day at the home of Davis's ex-girlfriend in Durrell, a residential suburb of western Miami-Dade. The incident, according to reports, occurred during a visit by Davis to pick up his two young children. However, things escalated quickly. Police say that Davis changed his mind and told his ex not to bring the children to the car. The argument that followed allegedly turned physical. According to an affidavit, Davis struck her in the back of the head and slapped her in the face, causing a small laceration to her lip. "Why didn't you bring me out a passport? I asked to see your daughter. You said, no, I don't want her to see I show you how I showed you. You did, but I wanted to see her. And now I'm going to have to talk to her because she said that when you hit her, it was in front of her, the baby, the 4-year-old. The woman didn't call the police herself. Instead, she texted her mother while the incident was happening. Her mother drove to the house and upon arrival reportedly saw her daughter in distress and crying with visible injuries. She also witnessed Davis throw a small box at her daughter. It was the mother who filmed some of the altercation and provided it to police as evidence. This small but critical intervention became the core of the investigation that would later lead to Davis's arrest. Christian Alex says the charge he is facing is battery. You mentioned this was an ex-girlfriend, but it is also the mother of his children. That according to police. Let's show you who we're talking about here. You were looking at the professional and well-known boxer, 30-year-old Gervonta Davis. He was arrested by Miami Beach police early this morning on a warrant for his arrest following an alleged incident that happened in June on Father's Day. In the arrest report we obtained, Davis is accused of striking and slapping the mother of his children in the face, causing injuries to her lip as he arrived to pick up his kids from her Dorado home. When he was taken in, Davis reportedly refused to read or sign the Miranda warning. He was booked without bond initially, but was later granted a $10,000 bail. As of now, there is no attorney listed for Davis in court filings, and his promoter has not issued a statement. Meanwhile, Davis is scheduled to appear in court again on July 29. The arrest places a harsh spotlight back on a man whose career has been increasingly defined, not just by his undefeated record in the ring, but by a series of troubling incidents outside of it. And it's not just the media that's questioning his behavior. Now, voices within the boxing community and broader sports world are expressing deep concern, none louder than Stephen A. Smith. During a recent episode of First Take, Smith did not mince words. He called Davis a repeat offender and reminded viewers that this isn't the first time the boxer has been accused. "This is not isolated," Smith said. "We're talking about a man who has been given opportunity after opportunity and still finds himself in situations like this. Enough is enough. You don't get a pass just because you can fight. Being undefeated in the ring doesn't mean you get to dodge accountability in real life." What Smith is referring to are the numerous legal troubles that have followed Davis throughout his career. Most notably, his hit-and-run incident in 2020 in Baltimore that left several people injured. Davis was sentenced to 90 days of house arrest, but later violated the terms by checking into a luxury hotel and moving to a different home without permission. That defiance led to him serving the rest of his sentence in jail. Smith pointed to that case as a clear sign that Davis believes the rules do not apply to him. You've got kids watching this man, fans who admire him, young fighters who look up to him. And what message are we sending when someone like this keeps getting second chances with no growth?" Smith asked. The timing of the arrest also couldn't have been worse for Davis from a professional standpoint. His last fight on March 1 at Brooklyn's Barclays Center was already a PR disaster. Entering as the overwhelming favorite against Lamont Roach, Davis underperformed significantly. Though he retained his WBA lightweight belt, the match ended in a majority draw with boos raining down from the crowd. Roach appeared to have scored a knockdown in the 9th round, but referee Steve Willis controversially ruled it a slip, an error that likely saved Davis from his first professional loss. That underwhelming performance sparked speculation. Was this a fluke or was Davis slipping? At 30 years old, questions around his discipline, conditioning, and long-term career prospects have grown louder. With his recent arrest, that conversation now shifts from what Davis can do in the ring to whether he should be allowed in the ring at all. Just Gervonta, his legacy, the kind of fighter, he's been touted to be and where he's at now and the impact things like this have on your career. Well, if you were to compare the arrest rate over the years for prominent boxers with the arrest rate for the average American citizen or citizen of the world, you'll find that the boxers tend to be arrested at a higher rate, more frequently, more different things, etc. Still, despite the controversy and consistent setbacks, Davis remains a major draw with an undefeated record of 328 knockouts. His power has filled arenas in Las Vegas, New York, and Washington. But star power can't silence ethical debates. And as Smith pointed out, public adoration does not equal public immunity. What makes this case different is that it appears more well-documented than previous allegations. The involvement of the ex-girlfriend's mother as a direct eyewitness and the presence of video footage placed the burden of accountability squarely in the hands of the justice system. Prior domestic violence cases involving Davis have quietly gone away. One was discharged and another was dismissed after the victim declined to press charges, but this time the optics are harder to shake. It also raises the question of how long major boxing promotions and broadcasters will continue to back Davis if these patterns persist. ESPN, Showtime, DAZN, these are platforms that often market Davis as a generational talent. But in the era of growing sensitivity around athlete misconduct, brands are increasingly being held accountable for who they promote. Smith made a direct appeal to these networks. You put this man on your platform, you are endorsing not just his skills, but his behavior. You want the pay-per-view money? Fine. But don't pretend you didn't know what kind of man you were marketing. Before we get into it, I want to introduce my church. All right. Now, this is a dance team for women from all across the world. Applause, what wasn't initially clear in the public headlines became far more concerning once details from the police report emerged. Beyond the visible, Durrell police documented an explosive emotional flashpoint. Davis had allegedly expressed insecurities about the sexuality of his own son during the exchange. It was this conversation, laced with what officers described as emotional volatility, that reportedly escalated a tense visit into a violent encounter. According to the report, the dispute on Father's Day wasn't just about custody logistics or past relationship issues, but also about Gervonta's frustration and suspicion over how his child might turn out. The mother of the child tried to de-escalate the discussion, but tensions intensified. Police characterized the situation as deeply personal and emotionally charged. "All right, we got a quick update. Looks like Gervonta Davis